You're watching SchreckTeck, where tech is Shrecky. This show is sponsored by Synapse 3DI at www.synapse3di.com and by Relate Corporation at www.relate.com. And hello, everyone. This is SchreckTeck episode number 20. It's July 19th. My name is Rick Zanotti, and as always, we're joined by...
Here I am!
Gina Shrek. Our biker mama.
Yeah, biker mama. I am going on a bike ride today, but it's a bicycle.
Right.
We're going to ride downtown. So it's a 14-mile one way and then 14 miles back. And you stop at Starbucks and have lunch.
That's
so, you know, it's real tough biking.
That's a long bike ride. You're taking
your grandson. It is a long bike ride, but it's real flat. It's along the Platte River here in Colorado, and it's a paved path, really easy. So that's our afternoon outing today.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Not if it's hot, but...
It is going to be in the upper 90s, so this could be the challenge.
14-mile ride in the heat.
Yeah, lots of water breaks and stops along the way. But it's a cool, you're along the river, so it's a little cooler there. But yeah, so, you know, good to get techie and talk about creative things in the morning and then take off for a great outdoor adventure.
Sounds good. And there's a lot of stuff going on. Hey, by the way, breaking news. It just happened on the, before I showed up. They've just arrested some of the anonymous hackers, the ones who've been busting into just about everything.
Oh, interesting. I didn't hear that.
They sort of do some good, but on the other hand, they break the law. So I think they've just arrested, I don't know how many of them, but they said FBI raided a lot of their homes. So rather interesting.
Okay, that is interesting.
Only took them,
that's such a big problem. And Nick, do you use certain things for your password? Like, do you have some code that you use, or do you just have a standard password way of coming up with passwords?
No, I have a whole mess of different passwords. Then, of course, I can't remember which password I have for any specific site. So I have to try one of about 20. It's always fun.
To me, it's very frustrating. And I've come up with a system that I think I'm going to switch all my passwords to. And I thought it was interesting because I learned it from another tech, Gina Trapani. And I really like the method because it's kind of taking each site. See, probably if I say this on air, then it's a bad.
Yeah. Can you?
It's no longer. Well, I'm not going to say what my password is, but you come up with a code that's kind of difficult, or a password that's a word and a number, or whatever it is you do. But then every site that you have your password, you take, like for example, Facebook, and you start the password with F, and you end it with K, and you come up with your secret code in the middle with the letters and numbers. And then if you're on LinkedIn, it would start with an L, end with an N, so that it's your same password but changes to prevent that kind of universal hacking. So I thought that was a good...
And that was created by San Quentin Software, right?
Exactly. Some guy in stripes, I don't know. But it's hard for me, passwords and you know, all the hacking that does go on. And last week, I did have somebody try to get into my Facebook account.
Uh-oh.
And I'm glad I have that feature turned on Facebook. You have to go into not privacy settings, but your account settings, and then it's account privacy. So it's different. It's really that one box you check saying, I want Facebook to notify me every time, anytime someone is trying to log into Facebook from a different location. So if I log on from a computer at a client site, it's going to send me an email saying someone is trying to log on to your Facebook account from Boulder, Colorado. And then I would say, okay, I knew that. But I got last week one of those notices saying someone's trying to log on to your Facebook account from Washington State. And I knew I wasn't there, so I immediately went in and changed my password. But, you know, I think these hackers, I just think we have to finally take it more serious. And some people have always done that. I've been one of the
what we need to do is shoot them. That's just, you know,
I mean,
you're eliminating.
Are you more on the naive side, or are you on more of the paranoid side?
I think we just need to volunteer them for the Darwin Awards and just basically take them out of our gene pool.
I
They
think
deserve nothing better usually.
I say we just spam them all. We just send them
They
tons
don't
of
care.
spam.
They probably have better spam filters than anybody.
Yeah, you're right. But would you say you're more on the paranoid side or more on the naive side when it comes to passwords and stuff?
I'm more paranoid.
You're more paranoid.
Yeah, because having been a programmer, I know what can be done.
Yeah, okay, that's true.
So
See, and I'm on one of the. I've always been on the naive side. Same password for everything.
It won't happen to me.
It won't happen to me now. Now I'm more paranoid or just more cautious.
Yeah.
Another big news story that kind of is tech news is another big bookstore here in the U.S. going under. Borders has struggled for a long time, but it's the second largest bookseller.
Yeah, it's kind of sad news. Well, you've got Barnes and Noble, which is near bankruptcy. I'm not sure if they filed bankruptcy, but they're closing a lot of stores.
Right.
And now Borders, I guess, is liquidating.
Right. Yeah, they're closing 300 or 400 stores.
Now, are they getting rid of their online sales?
I didn't hear anything about online, which is that whole thing of, today, are we finally moving into that shift of everything is e-reader?
Well, it's funny. I have only bought ebooks over the last year. I have not bought, I think, a physical book in about a year.
Right. I don't think I have either. That is interesting.
And I'm not minding it either. I don't even buy magazines anymore. I use, by the way, if anybody's interested, Zinio. Right. www.zinio.com. Zinio Reader is great for reading magazines.
Now tell me, Rick, explain the difference. Why Zinio to read the magazine? Why not just the magazine?
You mean the actual physical magazine?
No, I mean, why do you need Zinio versus just like I don't use Zinio. Well, I don't really read a lot of magazines, but I don't have Zinio, but I can get Wired magazine without Zinio, and I can get USA Today without Zinio.
There are some magazines that have done their own apps, and they're okay, but I find most of them sort of annoying. With Zinio, I have total control. It's like having a much better PDF reader. And then they have the bar at the bottom, so you can just scroll across pages, choose your page. But also, with Zinio, you can do several things. I should have bought a demo of it, but in essence, what you can do is open up your book. You can go to any page you want, or your magazine. And then if you find an article you like, you can zoom in on it. So now you're not stuck with what Wired or what anybody else thinks is the font size you want, which is usually about 4-point. So you can make it big, small. Any part of the magazine is viewable. It's the whole thing. You get your advertising, everything, which I actually enjoy the ads on magazines because sometimes I do want to find out what products are there.
Right. And then they're cool because you can touch them and get more information or watch a video.
And the other thing is there's a certain, I forgot what you do, but you do a click and it'll actually take it into a text processor. Now you can just read the article without the rest of the magazine there.
Oh, that is good.
It is a great little, I've got about probably 15 subscriptions on it. I just love it. And the quality of the graphics is beautiful.
Right.
The screen is so sharp. I'm obviously using it on an iPad. I think Zinio runs on Android devices as well.
Right.
It runs on your iPhone.
My husband has it, and he reads, different magazines. He'll download them there. But I thought, I wonder why you need Zinio. So really, it's just given a uniform.
It does,
format.
And it's a beautiful format. National Geographic's on it. You've got Car and Driver, Sports. There's something like 7,500 magazines on it.
Okay.
That's a lot of magazines.
That is. That's a lot. That is, and it's interesting, just even looking at the chat room discussion, we love the concept of books. I mean, I even look at going, I should be giving away all these books. Just donate them to somewhere and get them all online. When do we ever go back and really read them?
I mean, you know what's funny? I actually have. We've gotten rid of almost, I'd say, 80% of the books we had in the house. And it's amazing because I was a real book lover.
Me too.
And now I'm saying, I don't want to read them anymore.
We Google everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's kind of interesting. It's sad.
And then I use the Kindle Reader. I hate the Kindle Reader. By the way, for anybody at Amazon who's watching, your reader sucks.
Okay, now why do you hate it?
It's a piece of junk.
Is it because you're used to touchscreen?
No. I don't use the Kindle Reader. I use the Kindle app.
Okay.
It is the worst reading app I've ever seen. You can't change your fonts. You can't change your colors, really. They have a whole 4 selections.
Right.
You can change the size, but you're limited. They can't figure out left justification. Most books are full justified. So you've got these big gaps in the middle of it's just a piece of junk. Considering the fact that they own Stanza, which is probably the best e-reader out there, you just kind of go, what were you thinking?
Yeah, and
And
it is interesting because I gave my Kindle to Shreklet, and she didn't like it. But then when she had sudden book needs at school, and we didn't have time to go searching for it at bookstores, we just download it, and now she's getting used to reading it on the Kindle. And then my older daughter, Taylor, has the Nook. We bought her the Nook.
right, my daughter has that.
She really likes that because it also has, some of the other features. You can
Angry
check
Birds,
mail.
that's what they
There's
really
Facebook.
play. See, Angry Birds just came on the Nook, so
Oh gosh.
they're not reading.
They're not.
They're
It just
not
looks
reading.
like it. They put their headphone in and they're not
Yeah.
even reading. Oh, yeah. So it's interesting to look at. Just that shift. I think we're finally making this year is people have stopped. Although it was a sad statistic that people bought the average. I think, and now I don't remember the specific numbers, but the average American bought one book or read one book a year as a family.
Well, no,
and I thought, oh my
become
gosh,
extremely
how horrible.
well, no, the sad thing is we become extremely illiterate.
Yeah.
And it's not just illiterate. Maybe we're just plain stupid, but that's another issue.
But well, you think, gosh, I feel like I do more reading than ever before. But if you think of the average American, reading stuff on Facebook does not count because you've got all the grammatical errors and spelling and
Yep.
issues. So
Well, no, writing is another one. If you think about it, the corollary: if people can't read, they usually can't write.
can't write.
And we're
That's
seeing
true.
that. Pay attention to the news anchors and who's writing their news. It's amazing how many grammatical mistakes they make while
Interesting.
reading the news. A lot. It's just pretty amazing. You go, wait a minute,
Yeah.
they used to be really pristine. Not anymore.
Well, and speaking of writing, that I have to throw in one of the creative apps that I found because I love creative writing. I don't read. I really should. I don't read fiction books. I feel like there's so many business books that I'm always reading that I just don't take the time to read a good novel. But I love writing creatively, and I think that really helps develop better writing skills, even technical writing and everything else. Well, and I can remember going to a writer's retreat in California, somewhere up in Northern California, and we would, every morning you'd have to pull out of this box a strip of paper, and it was just a launch pad for your writing, and then you had to sit and you had to write for 2 hours straight, and then come back and you had to share your writing, and it was intense.
Isn't that how they write laws in
I
California?
love the process.
I think that's how they write laws in California.
I think
They're just
I'll tell you what,
they're writing creatively.
it was the most intense writers a week. Let's see, it was 4 days, and you were there. It was 15 women, and I didn't know any of them. My husband bought me this as a gift. I think he just wanted me out of the house for the week. Is what it was. But it was this beautiful setting in the redwoods of Northern California. It was stunning, but it was really intense. I mean, some people are writing from a place of angst and
Right.
anger, and so having to listen to this writing, it was depressing sometimes. But and mine was always like on the light side. Anyway, I love the process though of picking out a launching sentence or a statement, and I found an app this week on the iPad, and as a matter of fact, I believe it's on Android. I downloaded it and right before this morning and didn't open it, but you launch this, and it's from a website called writing.com, and they have this app called Writing Prompts, and I believe it was 99 cents. So you open up Writing Prompts in the morning. I don't know why I show the screen because the glare is so bad, but it has a statement, and you can choose photos, statements, or scenes.
Actually,
so
if you hold it there for a moment, it should actually focus.
Does it?
Yeah, it will. It started to.
Oh, there we
There it
go.
goes.
So a garden scarecrow. I'm trying to read it backwards. There you go. You guys can read.
Quietly
So it gives
observe.
you,
Yep.
quietly observes its surroundings, and then you start writing.
Interesting.
And then you can look at different scenes. So the scenes look like this. It has a place and a character, and then you take the scene and you have to start writing.
So the whole idea is to break that writer's block and get people to just figure out
Right.
how to run with something.
Well, and Bailey, my youngest, the Shreklet, she's a great writer. And I told her this is a fun thing. And she had a class where they did something like this. And I said, sometimes if you say 15 minutes, you set a timer and you just write, sometimes it'll just be for practice. Other times it really sparks some great ideas and some creative, that process starts flowing, and you can write a blog post. I mean, last week I wrote about Gilligan's Island on a blog post. Literally, I pounded that out in 10 minutes.
A tale of a faithful ship.
See, that was my point. That show ran for 3 years only.
Only 3 years.
Only 3 years.
I can't get out of my mind.
from 1964 to 1967, Gilligan's Island ran. And yet, 7 years later, we all know the words to the songs.
That's right.
We know all the characters, and we probably saw every episode multiple times. So my thought was, using social media, what can we learn from that to build brand loyalty like that?
And also remember, guys, for the last 30 years have been doing this. Marianne, Ginger. Which one? No, I was Marianne.
You were Marianne, or you wanted Marianne?
No, I wasn't Marianne. I'm Marianne. You know, it was the guys always say, "Who do you want? Do you want Ginger? Do you want Marianne?"
I know.
Marianne.
That was one of the things.
Marianne all the way.
Every woman wanted to be Ginger, but
right.
you related to Marianne.
Right. Well, she was cute.
Yeah, she was cute. And then the professor, there was a geek right there.
Well, yeah, he was cool.
He was looking and cool and everything else. But, you know, you look at that and go, in social media, do we allow people to get to know the characters of our organization?
Probably not.
You know, and I think looking at that show, it inspired a blog post about how can we use social media tools to allow people to get to know us? How do they relate to us? How do they contribute? Because on Gilligan's Island, we always yelled at the TV going, "There's a ship right there."
I know.
Just look to your right.
They were the original Darwin Awards.
Yeah. It's like all these strangers came onto the island and were able to leave, but they never left.
That's right.
So, but it was interesting.
That was the precursor to Lost.
Process.
You know, that was the precursor to Lost.
Oh, there you go. I think that was. Lost just took it and made it serious.
Yes.
Yeah.
They ruined the good idea.
Pretty fun. Okay, Rick, you got a PS3, you said.
I got a PS3.
And
I have proven that I am completely inept at it.
What? Okay, so what was your big motive? What was it, for a gift, or you just decided I want to buy?
Actually, it's sort of funny. Nobody believes this, but part of the reason we got the PS3 was we wanted to analyze the gameplay, the way the sound effects were used, the way the storyline moved, and the way the scenes changed, really so we could write better courses and better interactive engagement in the stuff that we do. We just thought it'd be a good thing. We've played games in the past, and I've done PC games, but I really wanted to take a look at that venue because it's got a lot more content. And just in the couple of days I've been playing with it, and I haven't played very much with it, what really stands out is sound effects.
Yeah.
Music and sound effects. What a difference it makes to the storyline. How powerful that is. And,
it's interesting.
And they're really well done games. You could tell that they've spent a lot of money and time making some of the games. But, you know, I ordered one from Japan the other day. This was not released in the U.S., and this is probably not really a game per se. It's a railroad simulator. And what it does is it simulates... It's called Railfan, Railfan, Railfan. It was made by, I think, Taito in Japan. And that game was never released here. And it has the full, I guess, railroad scheme of Osaka, Tokyo, and then I think Chicago.
That's cool.
And they've done HD footage mixed in with the really high-level graphics. And so what you have is a rail simulator that is extremely realistic. You see cars going by, helicopters, planes flying. It's just like you're there. I just found that a beautiful simulation. They're not like trains, but... So,
Rick, is this the story you told your wife as to why you were buying this?
Oh, yeah, I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker.
It's interesting. My oldest son, who lives in California, that's what he went to school for, was sound effects. Is that the California?
They're coming. They're coming.
He went to school for digital sound effects, and it was interesting when we went to we got to tour the studio of the college he went to there. I think it's in Oakland, and the amazing amount of work that goes into sound effects for video games and for, movies we kind of hear a lot about, but the games, it was really fascinating.
It is
so that's what he does.
Though, people who do sound effects for a living have really strange conversations, because in the middle they'll be going, well, the other day I went to... It's a strange kind of...
probably do. You don't have to start paying attention. Does he say, the car was going really fast, or I don't know.
The car was going... wow, that was really fast. Oh,
Yeah.
there goes a plane.
That's pretty funny. So PS3 to study gaming, and
And
it
have a
is
little bit of
always
fun while I'm
interesting
at
to
it.
look at more and more. Salesforce.com came out with a gamification of their sales technique, and their, your sales teams can have points and get different points for these different activities.
Salespeople are pretty competitive, so I guess that would make sense.
Right. So it's always interesting to look at one industry or one piece of kind of culture and say, how do we incorporate that into our business
Right.
in any and all areas. So that's pretty interesting. I mean, the whole social sharing, I'm always fascinated by that. What people like to talk about and share. We've laughed about the bathroom scales that you can connect to Twitter, and it'll tweet out your weight every day.
Gosh.
And
That's sick.
yeah,
That's absolutely sick.
I think that's good accountability.
There was a scale they had. They had a talking scale several years ago, and what you would do is you'd get on it, and it would go 325 pounds. You're fat.
Yeah, hey, Tubby, get off me.
And they did. It was sort of like the insulting scale. It was great. I mean, but can you imagine you get on your scale and you're like 350 pounds. Oh,
yeah.
oh,
that
poor
is
scale.
funny. Yeah, we don't even want to know our own weight, let alone tell the world our weight.
But you really want to tweet that out.
But it's interesting because the whole social music scene, I mean, the last couple of weeks, everything's been about Spotify. Spotify's coming to the U.S. And I was curious, like, how is Spotify different from Pandora? Or there's another one called RDO. It looks like radio without the A, but they pronounce it RDO. Well, here's what I found out. Pandora they consider for older. It's for the baby boomers.
Okay,
because it's
maybe
simple.
that's why I like Pandora.
Yeah, that's why we like Pandora. It's simple. You pick one song, and then it puts together the playlist for you, versus Spotify and RDO are some of those that, you pick a playlist and you can you can create playlists and share them
right.
socially.
I
So,
guess.
do you use any music apps or things?
I use iTunes. I use Pandora. That's about it.
Pandora. So that's your song. Yeah,
and
I
have no need to share
Pandora
with anybody. Yeah.
Do you pay for it, or do you do the free?
I did the
Pandora?
pay. I did the pay. I wanted the better quality sound.
Yeah.
And it does sound pretty good. And I actually enjoy the automatic playlist to see what they come up with.
Right.
And I have actually bought a lot of music that way. Things like, oh, hey, I like that one.
Right.
And
Well, we have it's called the HP Dream Screen. It looks like an iPad. It's the same size, but it is a digital photo frame and Pandora and Facebook. It has different features in it, the weather, so it has a few apps on there. But I got that maybe 2 years ago, and it's hanging in our kitchen. And so I love putting on Pandora and choosing a station, and I do the $30 a year paid subscription so that there's no commercials, and I do like that feature. But I've been playing with some of these others, and I like the fact that you can build specific playlists, but then they're $10 a month.
Right.
Which gets a lot pricier.
And if you have iTunes and you have your own music, you can build your own playlist also.
Well, and that is the thing. Okay, I've been spending I started tracking, how much do I spend on iTunes songs? I mean, I hear a song and I go and I download it. I love SoundHound. If any of you have, this is on Android or iPhone. If you've never used SoundHound, it's what was the other one that's like SoundHound? You listen to a song. My brain is not pulling it. There's another app that you can...
And they can listen to lyrics and they tell you what song that is,
and
right?
it tells you what song it is.
SoundHound
there's
do
another
that?
one that I used to use, but SoundHound, you can even hum or whistle or
Really?
sing the
And
song.
it figures it out?
And it figures it out. Not 100%, but pretty close. Let me open SoundHound. SoundHound, I have it on my iPad and I have it on my Android. So I hear a song that I like and I open up SoundHound and then it listens to the song and it'll give you the lyrics, tells you who sang it, who wrote it, gives you all the stats on it, and then of course there's that buy the song button.
Is that an iPad? Is that an iPad app?
It's an iPad or Android.
I think I'm going to get that one.
It's great. It's a free app, but then
You know what drives me crazy?
they're making you buy.
When
they
I'm watching
encourage you to buy.
TV and some of the TV commercials have great music, and I go, "Who is that?" And eventually, I do searches, and I will find it. It may take me 2 hours, but I will find who actually did the music, and it's hard sometimes where you have to type in Chevy commercial 2011, right, and then it'll give you a list of maybe some people. And
see, I did that on a commercial for a watch. I can't remember if it was Movado or something. I was like, oh, I love that song. And I just Googled song in whatever watch commercial, and it brought up the song, and of course, buy the song.
You know, have you ever thought that Movado charges too much for the watches because they only give you one number?
I have a Movado. It has no numbers.
That's even worse. Oh, that must have been was that the discount version or?
It's the discount version. It's the one for people who are never on time because you're looking. I don't know.
There are no dots.
Why even have hands?
Why even have hands? Yeah, just have a nice, beautiful black interface. That's your Zen watch.
It's just the bracelet.
Yeah.
But
I do like the
Movados. Watches make you look old. See, watches are very retro and baby boomer.
You should see my watch. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see.
If you're young, you use your phone.
Okay, now let me get in angle here. That's my watch.
There's your watch.
Now that is a huge watch.
That's a manly watch.
It's not a small watch. This is, I think, 51 millimeters, 52 millimeters. It's one of those Invicta, what they call oversized watches. Yeah. And they're fun. They weigh about 12 pounds, but they're actually kind of fun.
It's for people who can't see anymore.
That's right. Actually,
it's a wall clock. Yeah.
I like watches. And
I have to say thanks to Dave because it was Shazam. That was the service
Shazam. Okay.
Shazam is the other app that does that. Maybe now Shazam is better that you can actually hum, whistle, or sing. SoundHound, you can sing the song and it'll identify it if you're good.
Interesting.
Pretty fun. So I'm playing with some of these other music. And if you look at $9 a month, I need to go back and start looking at, have I been buying $9 a month in songs?
Yeah, and I just got I think we talked about this. I got that new Infinity G37, and it came with XM. I never had XM in a car before.
Right.
I want it. So it comes with the 3-month trial, which ended in a month. So I was going, all right, that's it. I got to buy it.
They hook you in that 3 months. Kirk did the same thing. His car came with it, and he now pays.
Yeah, and I think at $20 a month, it's a bit expensive, but the music qualities. You're in a car, and you're in your own living room listening to music at beautiful quality, and that's hard to beat. I really enjoy it. So I guess
I find it interesting, though. There's many times we're driving and it says cannot find the signal. The song it'll drop.
On XM?
On XM, and then it comes back.
Are you in a city usually?
Yeah, we're in Metro, Denver.
If you're in downtown with the skyscrapers, the GPSs won't work. Anything satellite-based won't get the... Right. Usually that's where you're going to get the problems. But then again, when you're in a city, you're not supposed to be happy anyway.
Maybe that's it. And they have the comedy channels and everything else.
Right.
Okay, that's interesting. You can add it to your device for $2.99 a month. Oh, XM.
Yeah, you can have it on your device or the internet.
Oh, you can add it to your device. So first you're paying the $20 a month.
Oh, and then, okay.
And then, see, they should be giving you the free app if you're paying.
Yeah. Well, what I find funny is that most of XM's money has gone to Howard Stern, who for the last 30 years hasn't done anything new. So go figure.
I know. And there's that whole thing of I find him repulsive.
I used to listen to him back in the probably mid 80s, maybe late 80s. We were carpooling to LA, and it was sort of entertaining for a while. Right. But after about 6 months, we couldn't take him anymore.
Yeah.
Nothing ever changed. And he still hasn't changed. And he almost bankrupted XM because they paid too much for him.
Right.
They paid too much. What was that, $200 million?
It's crazy.
Good old Howard.
Good old Howard. Yeah, so there's satellite radio. Now there's all these social sharing radio music apps. And again, they're all they integrate with Facebook and with Twitter. You can tweet out, here's a song that I'm listening to or that I like. And Pandora does that too. You can like certain songs and it can send it to your Facebook, and then it'll let your Facebook friends know. On my dream screen, the HP dream screen, when I'm listening to a song on Pandora, it'll tell me any of my Facebook friends who have liked that song before, because I have that feature turned on.
And it's funny, does that really matter?
No. Although it's interesting. I tried to think. I was thinking that it's kind of weird. It's interesting, but it's kind of weird. Like, why did they put that on there?
Right.
If I saw, let's say, my daughter's face popped up and, Taylor likes this song, I might send her like a note saying, I was listening to the song and thought of you, or I don't know.
Right. Exactly.
Maybe that's a hallmark.
You're listening to that garbage.
Yeah, well, then I'd be listening to it if I saw it. My kids are always amazed by that. They're going, "You have that on your iPad, or you have that on your iTunes, or I'm like, "What am I supposed to be listening to? Lawrence Welk? I mean,
Yeah.
what? Why are you amazed that I have
And a one, and a
Grace
two,
Potter's,
and a three.
yeah, and a one and a two. Um, Yeah, so I think that's kind of funny. There's another creative app for those of you who are just struggling, needing to be more creative, come up with product and service offerings and be more innovative. There have been a couple of them. There's one called Free Thinking and by Idea Wallets. And this one was kind of fun. It's more of one of these splash pages of ideas if you're trying to brainstorm, and it comes up and you can create, let's see if it'll focus there. It's a little cork board, and then you can write text, you can put pictures, and brainstorm visually on here. And so, there's so many mind mapping apps
Right.
for doing that. Yeah, I'm always looking for when you're just stuck and you're saying, okay, I really need to come up with some creative ideas. And we just went through this with a client trying to come up with some creative Facebook offerings and ways to build bigger communities for them. And so we just started looking at, okay, who is the community, and writing these down. And we were using an app where you actually draw and write with a stylus on here. And, I think sometimes we do just get stuck because we're so busy every day and we're doing the same things that it's hard to take the time to be creative and create new ideas. So I think some of these apps can really help.
Yep, that's true.
I don't know. Do you get in with? Do you do better brainstorming with groups, or do you go away somewhere and kind of do the whole thinking in the shower or get creative?
Thoughts come when they come, and I love brainstorming sessions. So we'll get people together and we'll start throwing out ideas.
Right.
That's always a good one. Now it's funny. There's a trend right now to make brainstorming very politically correct and pap. So as a result, there's no energy in a brainstorming session. Let's say, for example, in a brainstorming session, you say, "Oh, you should never say anyone's idea is stupid."
There's no bad ideas.
Come on, there are stupid
right.
ideas. And you know what? if you don't have fire, you don't have anything ever cooked. And that's what people forget. You need an element of heat in order to create something. And,
I like that.
And we're not doing that in our, so everybody's so and they all come up with really idiotic, stupid ideas. And you go, okay, great.
Says, that's good.
So now we've got 4 people. When I learned brainstorming back in the old corporate world, you went at it. It was really kind of a rough and tough session, but you came out with some good ideas. And, forget the ego. You're not there to get your ego aggrandized, but rather to get the ideas out. And when you fight for some of the ideas and you argue your point, there was always a devil's advocate. There was always somebody fighting for the idea. And not this pap thing of, we must love each other's ideas. No, that's BS.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Fire. Remember fire. Elements.
Fire cooks.
Fire cooks. If you're not cooking anything, you're just going to eat raw meat all the time or raw whatever. It's not as tasty.
And one of the other elements is water, and there's usually the wet blanket.
That's right. You need the water, you need the fire, a little bit of wind. Blanket. Yep. And you need ground, somebody to ground people. And it works.
That's interesting. I like that.
But that's my aggressive nature, so.
Well, here's one more app. Again, this one is on both Android, and it's called Creativity Portal. The Creativity Portal. And it's a place where people are putting all their ideas, and you kind of look and read through other ideas, and it's a social sharing of ideas, and sometimes you read one idea, a statement, and you kind of launch into some ideas of your own. So, and people can add comments to them or build on those ideas. And I think that's another fun thing that people like to do. I'm always curious because there's so many of these out there. It kind of takes the global sharing, and now you're just sharing with a few people, but there are a few focused people who are interested in the same thing. So that makes it. I think it makes it, makes it good, but it does. People can give ideas, give resources, and so I thought that was another fun one.
It's interesting because a lot of times, one person can have a lot of ideas, but when you start mixing it up with other people, whether it's socially or whether it's at a conference room table, usually you get better ideas.
Right.
And it does make for a fun session.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, so okay, so here's something that I get asked a lot about is kind of daily tasks for business. What social business activities are needed every single day, real specific. And it's interesting because this week I spent some time really outlining the daily tasks that our community managers that they perform every day for our clients. And it was interesting as I started breaking them down, and then I sent it to them and I said, add to this. What else are you doing every day to build social communities, stay in touch with customers, and really be there to communicate and to have conversations and not just broadcast. And it was interesting because there were even some things that a couple of them said, I forgot to do that. I forget to do that. And I used to do that where, you wake up in the morning, and this is especially true for organizations. When we're individuals and we're on social media, we tend to be better at who's new that's following us. Who are the new followers on Twitter? We see on Facebook, if somebody joins our fan page, we're more interested in going to see who they are. But I think organizations get so into, people following us, and we forget to go look at who they are. So the very first thing every morning that we always recommend is open up Twitter and click on followers. Who are the people who recently have followed you? Now, maybe you do this every day, maybe you do this once a week, but then go and look at them. On Twitter, it's easy. You just click on their profile picture, and it's going to open up a little sidebar. Or on TweetDeck, you can have a column that says new followers, and you can check them out that way. But that's the first thing we do, and we see, are any of these folks people we should follow back? The second thing we do is we have to look at their profile. If you're going to follow them back, you have to look at their profile. There are a couple tweets. Is there anything that you can retweet or comment on so that it lets them know, I'm not only following you back, but I'm already wanting to engage in conversation with you. So, I think with social media and all that we have going on, so many times we get into this routine of we just post and we're done. Post tweets, post Facebook, and we're done. And now Google, Plus, it's like, gosh, there's so many things that we don't have time to go and have conversations. So, who's new that's following you? Retweet or comment on something that they posted. Because to be honest, if they're not interesting enough to comment back to, maybe you shouldn't be following them back, but that's another story. And so then we look at that and we say, okay, now it's time to post whatever content we were going to post. Now on ours, we have a lot of things that we'll schedule ahead of time because they're standard things, promotion coming up here, video, or this person speaking at this location. So we will have certain things scheduled, but making sure in the morning that something gets posted that's interesting or helpful content. And then you can go back and, go to the next, we either go to the next client, next task, but you look at that and that takes 10 minutes. Yep. So it's not a lot of time. No, and I think people are always thinking, oh, we're there all day on one account. It's very short.
Yeah, that's true. That's good advice, though. And that kind of goes in with what Neen James said last week. And I've been actually trying to do this, chunking those 15 minutes.
Right.
And it's good advice. It actually works.
It does. And I think if we because absolutely, we could just sit and keep our computer open and be online all day and just have conversations with people. But if you're saying, okay, all I have is 10 or 15 minutes, what is the task that I need to do right away? It's kind of like checking email. You don't just leave email open all day. I mean, I check email less and less, and it's usually in the morning and the afternoon, which used to be hard for me to do. Now that's easier to do because I feel like most people, the conversations are flowing more through the social sites throughout the day. So, but looking at who's new that's following, should I follow them back, retweet or comment, post my content. And then another step that we take is we have to look at what the people are saying in Twitter. Look at your main Twitter stream. Is there anything within the people you're already following that you comment on or retweet? And then for Facebook, this is another step most businesses don't do. We connect with other brands and pages on Facebook as an individual. So Gina's profile, I might go and connect with Coca-Cola or, Maui Wailea Hotel or something. I might go and connect with those. But on your business page, you want to make sure your business also connects with other businesses that you can partner with. So, for example, if I'm a hotel property and I'm in Denver, I want to connect with restaurants' Facebook pages as the hotel property. I want that page to connect with other pages that are good partners, because then I can comment and post as the hotel on those other pages, which can cross-pollinate traffic. And it's a huge step most people don't do, because what we do is go to that Facebook page. You have to click the link that's on the right that says use Facebook as the page.
Right.
Once you click on that, you can then go to other pages, and you're wearing that cloak of the brand, and you go to other pages and like that page as the brand, as your brand. So now when you like the page, it's going to show up in your news feed for the page. And why that's important is I might want to share content from my partner pages. I cannot do that unless I've connected.
Yep, very good advice.
Kind of complicated, but it's really important when you're trying to build that community on a brand's Facebook page, to make sure that you're looking at it beyond just your posts.
Right.
And how are you partnering with others around you and doing that. So hopefully that makes sense.
It does. And Gina, guess what?
I know, we're out of time.
We're out of time. We've done 45 minutes like that.
Crazy how fast it goes.
Anyway, for all of you in the chat room and subscribing, thank you so much. And what do we have going on next week? Do we have a guest?
And I was going to throw up, make sure you tell people about the show. Help us spread the word. If you find the information helpful, gosh, we appreciate you guys always being in here. And guess what? Another surprise, Rick. I have somebody designing a badge for our show.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So
we're gonna have a new intro soon, and we're gonna do some more stuff. So
yeah, next week I think we might have the president from Graham Feed on, and we're going to talk about photos.
Sounds cool.
In our business.
It's a good thing. Hey, everyone. Thanks a lot, and we will see you next week. Bye, Gina.
Have a great week.